going to go to the audience. Is there anyone that has a question that they'd like to ask at this time? Just raise your hand. We'll have someone come over with a microphone.
What's up? My name is Mike Jones from uGospel.com.
Mike Jones!
My question is, was there any point throughout filming the season that any of you felt like you didn't want to do the show anymore, or kind of felt like you were in over your head, or maybe it was too overwhelming?
We all had some challenging moments, if we tell you the truth. Because, you know, pastors are guarded people. So just coming out of the closet and I don't want to say that, but just but coming from behind the veil, behind the iron wall, because we're so guarded, it's challenging because you wonder if people are going to still respect you if you show them your humanity. And so it's been a challenge for all of us, you know. Not really me, but I mean, you know, I think transparency is the way. But for so long, we've been kind of preaching and projecting perfection from the platforms. And so when they see our humanity, people get all messed up, don't want to go to church no more, don't have nothing to do with God, and start judging God because of things we've done. And it just can't be like that. Like I love what Bishop said. He said, let God be God. And we're just men that are striving to do what God has assigned us to do on the earth. So it was challenging. Now somebody got something else to say about that? Was it challenging?
Well, the challenging part for me wasn't the transparency, because I'm already a transparent person anyway.
Gotcha.
What you see on the platform is who I am behind closed doors. The challenging part for me was the fact that my primary #1 job, if you want to call it that, is that of a pastor. And so my responsibility to the church is the most important thing to me. So my whole life isn't wrapped up in just a TV show, because I'm still going to be pastor when the TV show's gone. So that was a challenging part for me, was to, because all of us are very busy people. We're all successful people in light of what we do, and because of that, there's a lot of demands on our time, and we have to be very selective in terms of what we give ourselves to. And so my life had very little margin to begin with. And so when I made a commitment to do this, there was no more margin for me. And so, yeah, for the last 3 months, any little bit of downtime I had has been gone.
Yeah, I will echo that one. That's the piece right there. Because again, what you're dealing with, again, I don't know, you know, what other people do, but this is not our job, any of us. We're men of God, full-time responsibility, and then we've got families and that. You know, for me, for instance, you know, my daughter had a birthday Monday. My wife's birthday was yesterday. I couldn't leave her to be with y'all. So, you know, I had to stay. Took the red eye. I'll be here. I leave for London tonight. I preach there tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, come back. So finding time to smile for cameras when that's not your primary thing was a challenge. And, you know, so we prayed, and we prayed for one another, and we prayed for each other, and I think we made it through. But it wasn't easy.
My moment was when I walked by accident into the wrong room at Lemmy Plummer Media. I happened to walk into the room, the story room, and saw my life on the wall. The first time I saw my life on the wall. It was interesting to see people talking about me in a room without me being there. That happens at my church. There's getting ready to be a church split, you know. To see, you know, your insecurities, your strengths, weaknesses, all those things up on a wall, and you not be there, really made me feel extremely vulnerable. The other side of it is I'm used to being the boss. And again, being a part of the decision-making process, and for the most part, framing, you know, the outcomes. And so I think for all of us as leaders, it was probably one of the most vulnerable processes we've been through in our lifetime.
You saw the need. You didn't have the time, but you saw the need.
Well, I think it's a testament to the fact that all 6 of you are even here today. Knowing that you have these challenging schedules, you make it a point. You make the time to not just let, you know, the commercials speak for the show, but for you to speak for the show yourselves by showing up. So
I think
thank you for that.
I think that's important because much of what we deal with is how people interpret things. Yeah. And that's the challenge that I have is what sort of interpretation would fall, because when there is no decision to make in terms of interpretation because you're not available, then of course that's one thing. But there's another thing when you open yourself up. And one of my friends said when he heard I was doing it, he swallowed his tongue, because it's how you're interpreted. People interpret you the way they want to many times, and especially when they approach the scene with a preconceived notion. And so you open yourself up, they see your house, they see your cars, they see what you have, and then you're interpreted a certain way. So that was my challenge. And my other challenge was that none of us would do anything that would cause each of us to have a problem, because you're dealing with different mindsets, different attitudes, different dispositions, different callings. And it becomes very critical that I don't say something that is so radical, or my behavior isn't so marginal that it causes my brothers any grief. And that's very critical to me too.
Yes, I think the biggest challenge for me was time management. I'm a full-time pastor. We run schools and boys' homes, and we're building homes, etc. We're traveling at ministry in Africa, in the Dominican Republic. I knew this was going to take time out of my busy schedule. I don't have a problem being transparent, because this is what I do. I go into the ghetto after God's blessed me to get Mo. I don't forget about Joe and Bo. And this has been a blessing to me. Because also, you have an opportunity to make a little money, and I can pay my taxes, so this has been a blessing. I'm talking about for me personally. So it's an opportunity to share the gospel and also make some money to pay some bills. So I love it.
Hey, they have a sense of humor too, amen? All right, right here. Yes, your question. Hi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Margie Bernard from the EUR and the New York Beacon. And Bishop Jones, you spoke about interpretation. You all appear to be very successful. You lead very lavish lives. What do you say about the John Doe who comes to your church and they tithe? Are they going to think that the monies that they're putting in the trade is not going to the church, but going to your lavish lifestyle?
Well, you got to take a look. First of all, take a look at the building that I have. Take a look at the church that I have. It seats somewhere close to 5,000 people. If everybody gave me, if you gave me $5,000 for a sermon, you only gave me $1 per each person that sits in the pews. In my case, I have a Beverly Hills firm that decides what my salary is based on what my contemporaries do, and I make sure that it is at least 30% to 40% under what happens. Most of what I have, I was a millionaire at 21. Believe it or not, a millionaire at 21. Everything in Columbus, Ohio that's under the ground, I built it while I was in seminary. Owned my first house at 19. My father told me, he said, whatever you like to do, whatever you enjoy, get in that business. I imported great cars. My sister and I, Grace Jones Enterprises, we imported great cars when the dollar was bullish against the mark. So all of my cars are European models, and they're exotic, yes, but they're all old cars, and they're not vintage old cars. So I imported those things and made those things happen. Now, what do I do at church? What I do at church is I keep people in their homes. I deal with credit and improving scores. A good name is better to be desired than silver or gold. I feed people every week. I buy them furniture, whatever you can think of. We do at the City of Refuge. I get jobs for prisoners. I got a UJCC corporation that I employ, got jobs. I couldn't get microtechnology jobs, but they lift weights every day, so I've got construction jobs for prisoners. I register them to vote. I spend, indeed, one of my companies the other day just went to San Francisco and forced the 49ers who were building a $1.2 billion stadium down that forced them to give minority groups $1.2 million after they had already settled who they were going to hire. So when it comes to money and lavish lifestyle, I think I live way below. Somebody said, are you guys wealthy? There's nobody wealthy here. None of these fellas are wealthy, period, end of story. They might be the poor rich, but that's not as good as
We thank you for your question.
But let me just add this to what he didn't say is that his personal income, he gives a huge portion of that away. You know, so would you rather have a guy who gets $30,000 a year give a big portion of his income away, or would you rather have a guy who makes a lot more and still gives a huge portion of his income away?
Okay, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah, just as it relates to that, I'm glad that Bishop elaborated a bit, because in a general sense we make statements based on surface level observations, and that's really true as it relates to the church. We were on an interview earlier today, and someone asked a similar question, but the perception is that, again, pastors are building whatever they're building on the backs of people paying tithes and offering. And most of the men I know have not built any level of wealth or poor rich, or whatever you want to call it, that way. They all have something else going on, or ministry demand outside of the local church. I flipped the question using a bit of empirical data. Most churches in America, only 8 to 10% of the people, with all the ministries he just named, we can probably name collectively over 300 ministries that are going on in our church. People say, is the gospel free? Yes, it is. The redemptive message of Jesus Christ, but all the services that we offer are not free. The lights are not free. The band's not free. Media is not free. And with that said, the average church only has 8% of the people, 8 to 10% of the people that are coming in those doors, taking advantage of all of those services, giving on a regular basis. The question is not, is the church using the people for its money? The question is, are people using the church for its resources?
I heard it.